Yeah, so this is Eccentric, who we've kind of pegged as being one of the teams to watch on the rise versus Hazeryon. Do you know anything about Hazeryon? I'm trying to recognize names here.
I know absolutely nothing about Hazeryon.
I think they're a brand new team because they're unranked in our GoSu rankings, which means they haven't played a game together, at all. 0 points.
Yeah, I actually don't recognize any of the names there, but this is EU, so I probably wouldn't see any of them in pubs regardless. So it's interesting. These guys could be... We can actually look at the levels after startup to just see just how much they've been playing since Overwatch has come back.
Not everyone just grinds Overwatch constantly, ZP. You need to stop judging people based on their levels.
I mean, I can't help it, man. I have a problem.
Level 15 represent.
Indeed.
This map is also just beautiful. The map design continues to impress me as Overwatch moves forward.
Yep. We're traveling into one only DePaul.
Yeah, just a quick note on our rule sets as well we're talking about. And we know the new custom game modes allow for different bands of heroes, all sorts of different options. We're keeping it exactly how we kept it the last couple weeks. As many heroes as you want. You can run 5 Winstons. Hopefully we see it. You can run your divas at the end on defense. So we don't have any of those custom rules in set. We're going to let the community itself decide the meta of the game.
Indeed. And that's one of those things where, yes, you could preemptively... do some of the rule sets and all the rest, but it's better to just see how things shake out and what teams really decide to do with it. And we are 13 seconds away from the starting bell, Hex.
Yeah, one of the things we saw as far as doubling up on heroes go early was we saw double Lucio compositions, and I think this game style and this map is going to see Lucios on both sides because we're going to have to see speed boost to get to the point, and we do right now.
Yep, and here come the Lucios, and here comes Hazeryon, and I'm just curious to see what they do here, Hex.
Yeah, it's going to be, I think we're going to see both teams kind of come in and just post up and wait for the other team to make a move. The first initiation is going to spell who gets his first point most of the time.
Yep. Watching Venage right now. Venage as McCree behind the Reinhardt, looking for poke-offs, looking to get in on the Farad, laying some good damage to start out with. Neither team really going too far in on the engagement just yet, though.
Yeah, I like what Eccentric's doing. They're taking their high ground, and then Hazeryon kind of falls for the bait and takes the point while Eccentric's right above them. So what we see here is Eccentric kind of cleaning up with 4 kills in quick order.
Yeah, and that was just sort of everyone on their team getting in the action. You look at the kill feed. Puppy now picking up 3 kills at the very end. Some great clamp by Puppy. But really, it was a team effort. We saw Skipjack go in, grab the kill, Lude picking someone off with Zarya. Just sort of full-on team effort coming out from Eccentric here to claim ownership of the King of the Hill.
It was just the patience. They decided just to take the high ground, and for some reason, Hazeryon said, okay, you can have the high ground, we're going to take the point, but then you're just putting yourself like fish in a barrel, and they came down and just annihilated them.
Yep. And no surprises here from Eccentric. They're running with that. And we have a big Earth Shatter coming down, knocking down 4 players for Hazeryon. Nadir is ready for the follow-up, reapering the 2 of the people that were just knocked down. We do have a counter Earth Shatter, but they're not going to get a whole lot of effort or value from that. So Eccentric using ults very effectively here and pushing Hazeryon back. They're almost in the Hazeryon spawn right now, Hex.
Yeah, that was an amazing Earth Shatter. He denied the charge completely, and what's huge about that is that he got the resurrection off. So that Mercy ultimate not being able to bring her team back, and now Mercy's dead as well. Eccentric in a dominant position, and the thing about these King of the Hill maps, this new game mode, is once you lose the point, it is exceedingly difficult to take it back.
Yes, and really, there's not that much time. You look at how quickly this is going. Eccentric already at 60%, so, you know, for Hazeryon, they need to take back the point if the next 2 pushes at the very least. We do have Death Blossom coming from Nadir. Nadir taking out 2 people. Pluppy cleaning up the backside of things. And again, what we're seeing here is Hazeryon just having trouble getting started here. And there's only a little bit left on this map now.
Yeah, they kind of trickled in there. They lost their Lucio really early, and they were down both supports, so that push was over before it even started.
Yep, and we're taking a look at Pluppy here. Pluppy's been holding on to his barrage for a while. I've been watching him thinking, all right, where's a great barrage flank? But he's just been content to sit back here and poke, and here comes Hazeryon. They are very well set up, and here comes Pluppy. He's going for the barrage. He's behind them. Here comes the barrage, and Pluppy, wow, doing business there and then some. Taking out 4 members of the Hazeryon team.
Ended up being a full wipe when all was said and done. I'm surprised I didn't see him. He just went straight over the top, dead center.
Yep, and we are going right into round 2. This is very, very quick, switching between the different maps. And Eccentric looked good there, Hex.
Yeah, they looked exactly kind of what I thought they looked like. I'm a little surprised Hazeryon kept going right through the front door. Now, the flanks on this map are pretty claustrophobic, so I kind of understand it. But they just tried the same thing about 3 or 4 times, and it never worked.
Yeah. So we'll see if Hazeryon has a little bit more luck here. This is best 2 out of 3 on this map. Should Eccentric win this part of the King of the Hill game type, they will take map number 1 over Hazeryon.
Yeah, I'm going to see if they post up in the same spot they did before. Hazeryon cannot allow Eccentric to just take the high ground like that and then not contest it. They need to fight for the high ground first, you know, much like King of the Hills have always been.
Yep, taking a look at Nadir right now. Nadir got the Zarya shield, being a little bit defensive here, but holding the ground and really Eccentric in the right position here, and they are chasing it down. Lucio's going to go down, and that has 4 people down now for the Hazeryon side. So really just, again, a team effort for Eccentric. Everyone got in there and rushed it down. Everyone picked up some kills, and they're in great shape now, Hex.
Yeah, 1 second. I'm just trying to use my camera a little bit. Cover for me.
You're being covered. So we see now Hazeryon is set up again. They want to go in. We see Puppy also not unfair this end. He's on McCree, laying down bullet after bullet into Farah. And really just lots of nice play coming out for Puppy here. Both McCree and Farah low, but he is going to get taken out. A Zarya ult is down.
Yeah, it was an enormous Zarya ult with no follow-up on it, and everyone was kind of shielded up on the point. However, they do res.
Yep, the Resurrect is up, and unfortunately, it just did not go all that well for Hazeryon. Hazeryon was wiped out again, and now they are looking down the grim barrel of potentially losing the first map, because you look at it, Eccentric's about to be 50% completion on Nepal.
Yeah, they're going to go right through the front door again, and they're just kind of just trying to stomp against Eccentric. Yep. They're not utilizing any flanks at all. And again, the map style does not really lend itself huge to flanks, but you know that knocking down the front door doesn't work, so you have to try something else.
Yep. Now taking a look at Pluppy. Pluppy getting knocked off. A great concussion blast from Akka. Akka now has Mercy in his sights. Mercy under a bit of duress. Mercy, though, is going to get out, and he's going to get meleeed down by Likely. A pretty interesting play there coming out from both teams. Here comes a Death Blossom from the Deer. And the Deer only going to take out one with it. Not the biggest Death Blossom in the world. We do have an Earthshatter coming down. Will there be follow-up for it? And yes, here comes Hazeryon. 4 kills coming out for Hazeryon, and this might be what they need, X.
Yeah, they're finally putting some presence on the point. A barrage comes down on the point to secure it as well, and it looks like they're finally going to capture the point.
Yep. We see Akka now just on top. Interesting point for Farah, but it's working out for him.
Yeah, now it's interesting to see Winston on this map. I think we're going to see Winston's a lot in this game mode, not only because of the shield and just the the sustain he can have on the point, but also because he can affect players' movements. We saw with the knockoff before that knocking people off the edges is a great strat.
Yep. And Skipjack rushing in with the aid of the Lucio Sound Barrier. Here comes the Graviton Surge, and we see Eccentric all over this, but they're not actually able to do the DPS they need for. That was looking very good for them, but not quite what they needed. We do have the Earthshot coming out for Skinky, and Skinky smashing Likely against the side. Some good heads-up play coming from here. Take a look at Pluppy. Pluppy now laying down a bit of damage from the side, trying to clean this up for Eccentric, but really both teams in the middle of a brawl, Hex.
Yeah, both Mercies went down, and then Skipjack was doing his best to hold the point. They're going to have to retreat a little bit, though, although Pluppy's trying to get some work done with the side. He's got his Mercy with him.
Yep, and Pluppy, he's actually staying alive for quite a while here. He's going to take out Akka. He got the Reinhardt, and Pluppy going to uptake this. It is high noon, but it is no longer high noon as McCree gets taken out, and Pluppy is on a rampage, killing multiple people. Man, he's been impressive so far today, Vex.
He's in a tough spot right now. They have to just throw bodies at the point to contest. The Winston does just that, but it's not in time.
Nope, not in time at all. That is going to be GG. So Eccentric taking game 1 in pretty dominant fashion, though you did see a little bit of signs of life from Hazeryon there towards the middle of the second map.
Yeah, we're going to see probably a Q of the game from Nadir. It looks like it. Oh, this is the follow-up. Perfect.
Yep, and there's Nadir coming in. And you see that follow-up, just very, very effective. Many things in the game can set up Death Blossom, and Yeah, some solid play from Eccentric.
What I liked about that in particular was that they were all shielded, but it didn't deter him. You know, he might not have got the kills, but doing that much damage so your team can follow up on it, even if they're all shielded, you need to chip away those shields off somehow. So it's a smart Death Blossom knowing that maybe it's not going to completely destroy them. They're not all low health, but it's going to set my team up to follow up that Death Blossom.
Absolutely.
So yeah, Eccentric living up to billing thus far. I don't know much about Hazeryon. They looked a little better in the second map, and I think it was because it's a little more open. The maps in King of the Hill mostly vary just based on kind of the flight and if they're standing over a cliff and if they're open or not. And it's mostly what their design is based around.
Yep. So we're going to take actually, before we take a break, let's take a look at some of the highlights of that game. And for me, the highlight was almost certainly Pluppy, Pluppy, and Pluppy. And just to show this for you guys real quick, take a look. First to play the game, of course, was what Pluppy came in here. He had a great flank with the barrage. You see him setting up the poke. He's holding on to his ultimate. And just watch this. He's going to go back over, drop the barrage. And there it is. So a great play coming out for Pluppy there. And the second part that I liked for Pluppy was where he came out now as McCree. This is a little bit less flashy than the crazy barrage play, but just look at his cleanup as McCree here. Just really very, very solid from Pluppy, taking out 4 people again. So, I don't know, Hex. I think he was the MVP of that last map.
Pluppy's always been putting in work. You know, we talk about some of the top fraggers, but he's definitely among that list in the EU, of course. You know, you've got the NA fraggers that always come to mind, like Cool Matt, but Pluppy can hold his own with the best of them.
Yep. And actually, we might not be taking a break. I think the teams are ready to get in the draft very shortly here, so we're just rolling along, Hex.
Good. Breaks are for the week. Like we're
breaks are for the week.
We're gonna cast today. We're gonna cast tomorrow. We're gonna cast all next weekend. Who knows? Maybe something in the week. Like it's just Overwatch, man. It's not work. It's just Overwatch.
It's not Overwatch. Just yep. Yep. So teams are just setting up here. Okay, it looks like we do have a draft link. And this time, unlike last time, we'll be able to show you the new and improved OW draft system, which I think teams are going to find really, really useful, both in scrims and just to, you know, make things simpler on the tournament level.
Yeah, and that tool, of course, is being constantly developed and expanded too. You know, Overwatch is in beta, so all the tools for it are in beta as well. But in the future, it may include hero bans, hero picks. Wherever the meta takes us, I think our developers are going to be able to handle it.
Indeed. So the draft is up. We're going to tell the teams are ready, and we're just getting right into it. So do you expect any sort of... what do you expect to really be banned here for? I'm surprised we got Nepal in the first game.
Yeah, I mean, now I have no idea. I was expecting some of those King of the Hill maps to be banned out, but I guess Eccentric is definitely comfortable on it. They showed their comfort level on that map. So I wouldn't be surprised to see Anubis just generally being banned early on. Teams generally don't like those kind of real staley last point maps.
All right, so the draft is on. Taking a look at this here, Hazeryon has the first ban, and they're taking out Nepal. They don't want to go back, Hex.
Why would you? I mean, that's... they didn't do well on it. Maybe they're not comfortable on it. Maybe they haven't scrimmed on it. Again, some of these newer teams, especially, you know, Hazeryon, who knows how often they've even played together. The game's been back out for 3 or 4 days. Maybe people just got the beta, but Nepal, definitely not something you could have prepared for just starting up a team.
No, definitely not. And that's just sort of one of those things like, welcome to the new Overwatch beta. So let's see what Eccentric doesn't want to play. I think clearly they're not going to take out Lijiang Tower. I think it seems like they're pretty okay with playing the King of the Hill style mode, but they are going to take out King's Row, which is a favorite of many teams. And Hayes insta-banning Anubis. I'm okay with that. Yeah,
people just find Anubis's last to be annoying. I think one of the problems with Anubis, while we have a little bit of time to talk about it, is it's such a long walk from that choke to the final point, and you have to like use a support ultimate, which are really the pacers of the game, to get in there, and then you don't have anything to fight with. That said, Dorado banned out and Lijiang Tower banned out. Hayes, of course, taking the second King of the Hill map off of the board.
Yeah, no surprise there, although Eccentric, why you gotta take out Dorado? Your music might be nerfed, Dorado, but you're still king in our hearts.
So our last 4 maps we have up: Nubani, Hollywood, Hanamura, and Gibraltar. Kind of staples of the meta. I would love to see some Hollywood. I'm a big fan of that map.
Yeah, Hollywood, it's great. And hey, it has options here. I think Hanamura might be getting taken out here by either Eccentric or Hazeryon. I don't think we're going there. So I think my bet is that we go to Gibraltar. I think Hollywood might get banned out, but I want to believe Hex.
Yeah, it's just really interesting to see Hayes just take those King of the Hills right off the board. Hanamura or Hollywood?
All right, so I think Hanamura is going off the board. I think we're going to Hollywood. And Hollywood has its own style in the game. You know, for most of the maps, it says, go, traveling to so-and-so. But for Hollywood, it's welcome to Hollywood.
It's how they do in La La Land. And there we go. We're going to Hollywood, USA.
We are, in fact, going to Hollywood, and we're just going to be ready to start here in just a moment. Note that Eccentric is up. Now 1-0, and apparently I've been removed from the lobby. But we're going to be ready to go here in just a second, and yeah, Hex Hollywood. So we're getting a lot of map variety. I don't even think we got the last time around.
I think we got like 1 or 2 games on Hollywood, and then a couple other tournaments had like all Hollywood, and I was so jealous. So it's going to be interesting to see how Hazeryon bounces back, right? That was a pretty one-sided performance by, any view of it. But some teams are just bad at certain modes, and that's been true across all games and like all genres. Some teams just don't have maps that they like, but maybe that, Hazeryon is payload specialist and they've got a certain defense, and that's why we allow them to get to the map that they want to get to, or at least not play the maps they don't want to play.
Absolutely. So Eccentric now, for those who are just joining, they are up 1-0 over Hazeryon in the round of 16. They looked very good. Eccentric probably the favored team coming in here. But we are ready. We're just waiting for Hazeryon to say they're ready, and we are going to go on to Hollywood. Now, Hex, have you seen the the Torbjorn and Bastion play in Hollywood? I think there's great spots for both of them on defense, and I would not be surprised to see Eccentric pull at least one of those 2 heroes out.
I think they're heroes that we're going to see at some point in today or tomorrow, and I'd be surprised if we didn't. They're both extremely popular in just pub play right now. There's not a single map where a Torbjorn is not around, and definitely Hollywood specifically has these lifts that go up and down, a lot of strange movement that happens that if you set a Torbjorn or a Bastion on, they can be extremely hard to deal with.
Yep. So we are now in Hollywood. This is not a drill. The Hollywood music is playing. We're in game. Eccentric up 1-0.
Okay, do you want to go through rosters here? We didn't really get to do hero.
Yeah, we didn't really do that. We're maybe a little off our game. Yeah, not only the players rusty, but the casters might be a little bit rusty too. But we'll take a look at the defense as we're saying up here. This is Hazeryon. They have Skinky on Reinhardt, Stormstrider on Mercy, Dabu busting out the Symmetra. So they are going to bring the Symmetra on point. That was sort of a point of contention previously where do you run a Symmetra, do you not? We have No Face coming out on the Torbjorn and Akka on Pharah.
So right away we do see that Torbjorn and the Symmetra. It looks like kind of a turtle time tactic here, which is good for the first point, I think. And Symmetra's got a lot of really interesting spots on this as well. Of course, with her, the big gamble, if you will, is she going to be able to get a teleporter up on time? And if she does, her value is great. If she doesn't, her value is bad. So it is a bit of a coin flip when you run a Symmetra.
Now, I'll say this about Symmetra. So she got buffed and nerfed at the same time. While she's in a situation now where she will get her teleporter up faster, she does no longer build charge while the teleporter's up. So she can't have the permanent teleporter up anymore once it's up. So she gets started earlier, but she's not quite as strong after.
On Eccentric, it looks like Skipjack's going to be on Reinhardt, Burks is going to play Mercy, Nadir on McCree, Lude is going to be on Diva, likely on Lucio, and Pluppy on Pharah.
Yep. Right now, we're taking a look at Venage. I really like watching the Reaper point of view for this because Reapers often get the best flanks early on. Right now, we see Eccentric moving up, staying together, and a lot of times teams will sort of flank in to the left side as they come in, and no surprise here comes Diva coming in the left. Reaper throwing lots of shots into Lude here, but he's going to have to Wraith walk away. So taking a little bit more damage there than perhaps he would have liked.
Yeah, Vengeance being very patient there, but it looked like Diva sniffed that one out.
Yeah, both teams actually keeping space pretty well. No one has died just yet. Poking back and forth, but as I say that, Lude takes out the teleporter, but Venage takes out Nadir. So first blood going off to Hazeryon.
Yeah, and you called it. They do have the Torbjorn turret in a kind of a typical spot on this map. The Reinhardt charges in and takes down the Torbjorn, and that's a couple kills that might signal Eccentric taking this first point.
Yeah, Pluppy's getting some great poke down here as well, and he is going to take out the other Pharah, and he is not done just yet. He's going to clean up the turrets. Might be getting the Reaper down as well, but really just sort of stomping here by Eccentric to swarm the first point and take control of it.
Hazeryon got way too split up there was the problem, and now Aka's coming in to try to trickle back in. I think they might have to give up this point. They can't trickle in like this.
No, they definitely don't want to trickle in just like that. And wow, Nadir picking off Torbjorn. Torbjorn was almost around that corner, and he just got shot directly in the head. And here comes Nadir. Nadir just pushing forward, acting a full McCree in the Wild West area.
And Pluppy chased down the Mercy. So the part about coming in and trickling is not necessarily that you're going to die doing it, but you're going to die trying to get away from it and trying to regroup again. They got chased so hard there, and now they have to regroup so far back that it's going to be hard to mount a good defense.
Oh, and Aka just got dunked in the face by Pluppy. Pluppy not wasting any time. Barrage coming down, taking out another person as well. But here's the res by Mercy, taking out two people. But here's the high noon from Nadir. Nadir going to take out multiple people there. So that was a great sequence of events coming out for Eccentric there. And Nadir is still going in, man.
Yeah, they're holding really far up right now, and they should. Now they have them at these choke points. These doors aren't open. It's really hard to get out here and stop this cart through these two small doors.
Yeah, watching Nadir. Nadir is going to whiff the flashbang. Doesn't matter. Pluppy with his backup. Pluppy and Nadir really are the Bash brothers of Eccentric. We saw this yesterday in the King of the Hill matchup, but they are doing exceptionally well right now, and really, you just sort of see Hazeryon a bit on their heels at the moment.
They're a little bit too split up again, too. I mean, I know you want to kind of have some distance to avoid all the splash and area of effect damage, but it seems like they're constantly caught in 2v1s, 3v1s. They're never there to support each other.
And the Fire Strike from Skipjack just erasing McCree from there. Can't ignore the Fire Strike.
They're so far pushed up right now. This high noon, even if it doesn't kill anyone, is just to make space, and they're going to be able to just take the warehouse. And the car's not even through the warehouse.
By the way, I haven't given enough props to it, but props to the Skipjack skin, man. He has the Bloodheart Reinhardt, and it just looks awesome. And speaking of that, Skipjack is holding on to the Earth Shatter. He's going to be using it any moment now, Hex. And that's the other Reinhardt, so Skipjack saw that as probably like, you know what? I can do a better Earth Shatter. Is it going to happen? He has the Mercy in his sights.
Yeah, the Reinhardt went in. It was a decent Earth Shatter, got a good pushback, but there was no follow-up by his team. It seemed like he had one plan, and the rest of Hazeryon had another.
Yep, and right now, Skipjack just opting to hold on to. You see Pluppy and Nadir sort of taking things out along the sides, and really, he's just content to hold his shield and move forward. And there's the Earth Shatter coming down. Doesn't really hit anyone, but we are seeing a little bit of casualties coming out for Eccentric here, but I think they're going to hold it, Hex.
Yeah, there was a couple of ults that went out to try to make space. Both Lud's D.Va ult and the McCree ult went down, but they didn't do anything. I think Eccentric just kind of thought they had it and were just throwing those out there, but that was a good hold, and this is a hard last point to take, so we could see Hazeryon turn this map around.
Yeah, and this is one of those things where it can be difficult to get in at this particular point. It can't, like, generally it's one of those things for teams that just generally a little bit rough depending on what they do. We do see Reinhardt charging in. We do have no really any ults up for Eccentric, but it might not matter.
Really big
as I say that, of course I said that as High Noon came down.
Yeah,
so.
a triple kill High Noon should all but seal this map right now. That's a lot of deaths, and that's a game that was absolutely lost by Hazeryon's momentum. Or lack thereof.
Well, Eccentric just sort of controlled the game for quite a long time there in general, and Pluppy and Nadir both went down, but here comes the res, a great res coming out by Burix. Really, really a fan of that Resurrect, and that being said, the Hollywood sponsors, I'm not sure they're going to take this. Hazeryon's holding in more than I'd expect. Oh, and that was, I think there was like 3 people blown up by D.Va at the end.
I think this game was really lost when they tried to do anything to contest that first point. That first point was lost in a really brutal fight, and they all got picked apart and split up individually, and then they trickled back and they were never able to fight as a full force after that.
And this, I think, was the High Noon at the end, and still so effective. Although it's noting that even though they wiped this many people, they weren't able to immediately cap the point right after, and that sort of shows what's going on with this game in regards to how hard it is to cap that final point on Hollywood. Note that the time is 5:08. That is the time that Hazeryon is going to have to come back now and beat.
And maybe they can do it, but that's a really strong time. The offensive team was always far ahead of the cart, always clearing space out. They were able to do it with the combo of their Mercy and Pharah on damage boosted rockets, and then some cleanup from the McCree, and they just never really had to fight at the cart.
Yep. Yeah, and then just interesting game all in all. So we're going to see how Eccentric holds. And I'll tell you what, Eccentric had some very, very impressive holds yesterday in the King of the Hill tournament. Again, credit on that, because really that was the first time we've seen competitive Overwatch back. And I'm curious to see just how they decide to hold here.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see if Hazeryon does anything to switch up their meta, switch up tactic, composition, because this is do or die for them.
It is, in fact, do or die, so... yeah, curious to see what happens here. Hex, do you have any thoughts on what you're going to see in this game? Any curveballs or anything like that?
I think if they want to beat that time, and they have to beat that time, but they need to do it in a really aggressive fashion. I wouldn't be surprised to see a double Lucio, maybe a double Winston. Going for those kind of high risk, high reward plays, you could even see a double Pharah. You could go really strong on assassins, but they know that they have to constantly get frags and constantly keep the cart moving. It really can't stop once they get that first point.
Yeah, I mean, you think about it, Eccentric set a very, very fast time there. So Hazeryon is going to have to move in a way that they haven't moved before. And, you know, given how Eccentric is pretty coordinated on defense, I think that's going to be pretty rough. Note that one interesting thing is that we don't see either a Torbjorn or a Bastion coming up for the Eccentric defense. But while we're speaking of Eccentric, we got Skipjack on Reinhardt and Nadir on Reaper. I'm not even sure I've seen him on anything but Reaper and for the most part. I guess McCree now and then. Like last game. Likely on the Symmetra. Burix on Mercy. Lude on Zarya. And Pluppy on 76. So not on Pharah this time.
I like the 76 here. It's a good defensive choice to take out their Pharah trying to go over the wall. And that Pharah is going to be Akka on Hazeryon. Skinny is going to be playing the Reinhardt. Dabu on Winston. Stormstrider on Mercy. Vengeance on McCree. And No Face on Lucio. So a pretty standard composition aside from maybe the Winston for our offensive team.
Yep, and I like where Pluppy's standing back here. He's really taking advantage of the fact that Soldier, he is newly buffed, and he does have just really good long-range pokes, so he's content to just stay back here, shoot the Pharahs that come in, and hold as needed. And Nadir with a very quick pickoff, and Skipjack with a crunching of Lucio. So two very quick pickoffs. Winston gets shot in the head by Pluppy, and Pharah is soon to be shot out of the skies as well. So Eccentric, furious, just savage defense to start this game out, Hex.
Yeah, I really like where they're holding. That Soldier 76 pick is exactly for this, to try to take out anyone who comes over those walls. And it happened to be a Winston, got shot in the head. Happened to be a Pharah, got shot in the head. It's really taking out one of the entrance points, making them come through this arch and taking away that vertical option.
Yep, and right now I see Nadir applying pressure up close, and he's going to go for the flank. We do see Reinhardt coming in. He's not even going to chase that. He's going to sit here. He has Lucio and Mercy in his sights. Nadir, though, is going to get shot quite a bit by McCree. Almost gets taken out. McCree might have been able to get that.
They've got a decent stance in there. They lost their Reinhardt really early, which has been a theme for them throughout this set.
Yeah, and see Nadir going in. And here comes the Death Blossom. A great Death Blossom coming out by Nadir. Some great heads of play, taking out multiple people. And that is a very key play, Hex, because that's going to buy them more time. And really, you look at it, Hazeryon doesn't have much time to spare.
Nadir is like one of the most patient Reapers that you can ever see. It's really important to like hold on to that Death Blossom because it crushes a Resurrection. It's a Resurrection counterplay. You see him come up. We've seen it even in the last couple days in different tournaments. You pop into the middle of a Resurrection, hit that Death Blossom, and it's like it never happened.
Yep. We're seeing Winston trying to get into the back line a bit, forcing Soldier back. Soldier does have problems taking his face. It is high noon. Venage is going for it, but no, he is going to get taken out in short order. Only 2 are down for Eccentric right now. 4 down for Hazeryon, but here comes the res. The battle is not over, as Mercy says. But I'm sorry, Mercy, the battle might actually be over. Eccentric is holding strong.
I liked the idea there where they brought this Winston into the Mercy and they took high ground to the cafe. I thought it was a good vantage point. It's something to really kind of split the attention of Eccentric. It didn't work out, but it was one of their better kind of pushes and concepts, at least.
Yeah, definitely. So Hazeryon's going to have to go back and regroup here, but I'll tell you what, they're very quickly going to be mathematically eliminated here. They only have about 2.5 minutes left to actually complete the map, and right now it's in question if they'll even take the first point in 2.5 minutes.
Yeah, I mean, I do like this Winston pick. I think that it was an interesting kind of like.
Oh, Nadir with a 3-person Death Blossom again, as Pluppy just picks people off in the back. So Nadir really on point here, and that...
Every time you say Nadir's name, I look at the kill feed, and it's always 3 or 4 names for him.
Yep. And I saw Mercy file people. So, yeah, this is very, very rough for Hazeryon right now. Some very convincing defense coming out. I'm going to note Skipjack is holding on to his Earthshatter, so are we going to see a great Earthshatter play here? He's got to be thinking about it. He doesn't want to get greedy, though, because really they're holding on pretty well here. They just need to hold for just a bit. We do have the Graviton Surge coming down. Fire Strike is down. Will there be a follow-up? The Winston Shield actually just preventing that. Earthshatter to start with, but there's the Earthshatter. Crunch goes the players on Hazeryon. And
yeah, Skipjack going absolutely enormous there, almost by himself. Nadir died early in that fight.
Yeah. So Skipjack goes down, but man, did he get quite a bit of value. And I'm gonna tell you what, Nadir almost has Death Blossom back up again. It's happening soon.
Yeah.
Do you know that Death Blossom is usually followed by death? Because it's a thing.
That's what blossoms.
I know, exactly. Okay, it is High Noon. Venage trying to get a little bit of value. Likely is going to take him out as Symmetra. I think he got clobbered by a orb. Here comes Symmetra, or Farah. She's going to get taken out in short order.
Yeah, they're just not getting the value out of their ultimates that they need to be getting right now.
I'll be honest, we could probably call GG right now, mathematically. Hazeryon can't win this, so Death Blossom is going to go down. Only one, Nadir. You're slipping, man.
Yeah, there were just some mistakes, I think, on Hazeryon's part as far as the initiations went, and just some individual plays that ended up costing them advantages. They often lose a hero very early in the fight. A couple times Akka went over top of this building and then ended up on the wrong side of it alone, and then you're fighting 5v6 without one of your main damage dealers. Just some of these plays where the team didn't seem entirely on the same page.
Yeah, I don't think they were, but... You know, Eccentric showing why they are one of the better teams in the game right now, how they are coordinated. We're going to have some good examples of that, you know, on the replay feed when we come back, but well played, the Eccentric. They're going to move on to the round of 8, and they might be up against G2.
Yeah, I think they're going to try to play it out. Well, see how the scrap goes here.
Yep, they're playing it out, but the game is actually already over. Time has expired.
So as we kind of predicted, Eccentric moving on with relative ease, and we don't know if that's really the level of competition or Eccentric just got that much better.
Yeah, Eccentric definitely, I think they've improved since Beta 1. I feel like they've definitely been game planning a bit. Let's take a look at this play of the game by Nadir. Death Blossoms from his Q. Literal. And there it is. So, man, I'm excited to see this. If we get the G2 versus Eccentric matchup, it's going to be interesting. Will G2 be able to sort of live up to the hype that's been surrounding them a bit, Hex? Or are they going to fall to Eccentric, one of the more veteran teams in the beta?
It's definitely something to watch. It's one of those teams that we haven't really seen play, but we've heard about, and we've seen how that can be dangerous. You know, we thought Fnatic was going to be great, and they weren't. So it's going to be interesting to see. Eccentric is kind of a known entity to us at this point. We know that they're very good, not quite great. So it's going to be interesting to see where G2 matches up against them.
Yep, definitely will. And Hex,